Hello, I'm James from Jamcom IT Consult. In our next tutorial, we are going to use C# to generate to create a simple program, something that generates random numbers, and then someone is supposed to enter an answer here, and the system will tell him whether the answer is correct or wrong. For example, if I enter the 6 and click submit, it will tell me that this is correct. It can be multiplication. 6 of course is wrong. If I enter the 0, that will be correct. It can be subtraction. If I said that is 0, then click OK, that is also fine. You can generate as many numbers as you want. Now I'm going to delete all the code behind, and then we'll reconstruct this together. I have decided that we read it from scratch, so we shall create a new project. It's a Windows Forms application. Then we enter the name of the application. Here we can call it arithmetic. Press enter. Then we shall go ahead and start throwing controls onto our form. We need 2 buttons, one for submit and another one for next. Then I think 3 labels. I double click and then the controls are thrown onto the form. I shall need a text box as well. Yep, let's first deal with those. We shall start organizing our controls. These 2 buttons here. The first one, we shall call it next. We shall go here to the text and we call it next. Then this one is submit. We shall also change their names. Button submit. Then this one is button next. The labels, we shall organize them. These are the labels that hold the random numbers. This is the first number. Actually, I can also rename these. I call it label first number, and then this one is label sign, and this one is label second number. The label sign, I can put its text there. We can make it a plus for the meantime. Maybe you can also change some few properties here. The font properties, shall go to font. I want to change this to bold and maybe make it 10. That looks better. Right, now I'll start coding right away. What I want to do is that when I click next, we should get random numbers in here. This should hold a random number, this should also hold a random number. So I'll double click the next button and start coding there. We shall declare a new object which is called random. For those of you who don't know what objects are, you can go to www.jamcom.com, JAMCOM. I have a lesson there on objects, how to create objects. The tutorial is called Fundamentals of Object-Oriented Programming. So we shall create a new random object here. We call it maybe random number. Is a new random. So when we click the next button, therefore label 1 or label first number should equal to random number dot next. So the next property is the one that generates a next number, and we have to also give it a range from 0 to 9. I don't want a bigger range, so we need to generate random numbers from 0 to 9. Now our big problem here is that random number, this object we've declared, holds integers, and yet labels hold strings. We need to convert this to a string, so we shall use the convert class, convert dot to string. No, yes, actually yes, we need to convert this to string. We need to put this in a bracket, or the whole item into a bracket, and then we try to run it. Actually this is supposed to be label.text. Label.text is equal to, we convert whatever is in random to a string. We shall do the same for the other label as well. That was a label second number, should also be the same, that is .text. Let's run the application and see what we have. Here we are. If I click next, we already now have those random numbers running. Next thing, we want to click submit, and then an answer should be generated, and we compare what this person has entered with the answer. Let's declare here a variable which will hold the answer of whatever will have been generated. So we shall say int answer, and when we click this button here, submit, it should get answer. It should assign answer the value of label first number, and then add it to a label second number. So answer should equal to label first number plus whatever is in label second number. What am I talking about? Let me first cut out this because this is still wrong. When I click submit right here, we should get 5 and 2, and then pass it to our variable we would have declared, that is variable answer. I'll paste this and then convert these, because these are in string. This is also a string. You remember we turned them into strings right here, so we need to change them back to integers. So we shall still use the convert to int. Put this in a bracket. I can copy this, I have no problem with that. Paste it there, and then put it in a bracket as well. Okay, I keep forgetting to mention that this is the text that we need, not the label itself, but the text inside the label, and then we'll be good to go. Let us test the application. We shall run it. Here it is. So when we click next, we are able to see these numbers. However, we are not able to see the answer because we assigned it a variable, but we are not yet calling that variable. We'll need something that calls that displays the variable. So let's create something like a label. Here is the label, and then we say when we click submit right here, we shall say label 4, it's called label 1 dot text will equal to convert. We shall still convert answer because answer is in integer form. We need to turn it back to string. then we say answer. Don't get confused. What we've done here, we've picked whatever is in answer, because we've said answer is equal to label number 1 and label number 2, and then we assigned it to answer. Now we are converting answer back to a string. So let's go ahead and run our application, and we see whether this label will have the right answer. So next, and we submit. Of course it's 4. Submit again, it's 9. Submit again, it's a 4. This is now a bit correct. We need to create the other operators as well. We need to have a plus, minus, and then multiplication. Let us create a container here. Actually, it's not called a container. From some other programming language where we used to call it a container. Here we call it a group box. We will need a group box right there to put in. Oh, I'd already created one. I'll delete this. A group box to put in our radio buttons, or option buttons as we used to call them in Visual Basic. Radio button, double click, we shall double click these and then put them right there. Now, a group box is so nice in that when you move your objects, they all move together. That's why I need it. Then I will adjust it. The text of this, I'll change its text to operation. Then change the text of this to maybe addition. This one to subtraction, and then this one multiplication. It will also be nice if I changed their names to which I use during coding. This one is radio multiplication, and then this one radio subtraction. This one also radio addition. Okay, now when I run, I want this. Click that. So when I click subtraction, I want this operator here to change to subtraction and multiplication, and so on and so forth. So I'll put that code behind here, so that when I click here, then label signs dot text should equal to a plus. The same will apply to this. Label sign dot text should equal to a minus, and then here as well should equal to a multiplication. I'll run that and test, see whether it's working. So when I click there, it should change. When I click there, it should still change. However, we need to have a default value. For example, when I click, I want one of them to be checked. I'll go to the value of this one here and make it checked, so that the moment it runs, it's checked. I'll run it. Here we are. It's now checked. This is the default button. If I click there we are. Now in our next video, we are going to see how to carry out the other operations. Maybe before I go away, let me put the comparison here, because what we want to do is to compare the answer. If we enter a number here, we want to compare that number with whatever is in this label. compare the answer with whatever is in here, and then we shall tell him whether that is correct or wrong. However, let me do that in the next video because I've run out of time. I can't upload a video which is too big.